So let's focus on the relationship and not the outcome. When you focus on the relationship and not the outcome, your outcomes become more predictable. My name is Clay Hicks. I'm an entrepreneur just like you, a thought leader, and I never do business alone anymore. We shouldn't. It can be lonely and draining. Be the champion you wish you had. Stop trying to sell the person in front of you and instead serve first and turn random contacts into connections who want to open doors for you. Think about this. You want to make sure that you sell through the room and not to the room. Have you heard of like, know, and trust? How many of you have heard of like, know, and trust? Awesome. CSA, or Connect, Serve, and Ask, breaks that method and it flips that method from like, know, and trust to focus on trust so that like and know follow. The problem that we are all faced with in most networking and traditional settings is, we're taught to scan the room and think, who in this room needs my product or service? The problem is trying to push your product or service onto someone who barely knows you puts a lot of pressure on that other person and usually goes nowhere. What we actually need in our careers are connections or champions, not contacts, not just contacts. Connect, Serve, and Ask, or CSA, some people call it that, is a simple framework for building relationships. The power is not in the clever acronym. The power is in the order. You earn the right to ask by how you connect and how you serve. You earn that right. So you want to be the connector you wish you had. True connectors connect, serve, and ask their way to success. Before connect, serve, and ask, chances are you meet with somebody. You talk a lot about, you talk about what each other do. You give your commercials. You probably even talk about your hobbies. And chances are you wait till the end of the appointment before you're like, hey, we're almost done. Who would you like to meet? It's an afterthought. Anybody ever experienced that? It's an afterthought, that helping each other becomes an afterthought. After CSA, you meet the same type of person, but this time you intentionally connect, serve, and ask them. So John came to me. He's been a member for 14 months now. So he comes to me and he says, Clay, I really like to work with you. And I said, I know. You've spent your first 12 months as a member focused on me instead of the people in the room, in the community. And he said, yes. He said, I'm not sure I'm going to renew because I really want to be connected to you, but I don't know about the rest of the community. I've had troubles connecting. And I said, okay, well, let's see what training you've taken. Have you taken your Connect, Serve, and Ask? Boom, hadn't taken it. I said, listen, if you want to have success in networking and developing relationships, you leverage Connect, Serve, and Ask. And he says, well, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to renew. I said, well, how about this? How about this? If you take the training, we'll meet in 2 weeks from now. We'll see what's up and see if there's any differences. And if you decide you're going to stay, then you can stay. How about that? He said, okay. So he takes the training. We come back together for the meeting. I'm like, so how did it go? He said, well, I can tell you, I did not know how powerful that really was. Even though I was required to take it, I really thought, well, I know it all. And I'm like, well, Paul, you don't know it all, do you? And he said, or John, excuse me. He said, no. I said, okay, so are you going to stay? He said, yeah, but I'd like some mentoring, maybe a couple more meetings. I said, sure, we'll do whatever you want. It's perfectly fine. So we meet again in December, and he starts getting the catch to it. He starts catching on to it. He starts applying it, and people are responding to him. He's recognizing relationships are becoming more plentiful. The outcomes weren't there yet, though, right? I'm like, okay, that's cool. Let's hold tight. And let's see how it goes in January. So we get through January, and he says, hey, Clay, I probably should tell you this. This is very exciting news. I just sold my first. I got my first referral, and I closed on it. I was like, wow. Now let's take a step back. This guy only sells high ticket items. That's what makes it more difficult. I mean, to work with him, it costs you 30K a year. No matter what, you can't squeeze it out any other way. That's how you work with him. That is his consultative nature. That's what he does. And that's kind of a hard sell, one may say. It's a high ticket item. Somebody's signing up for $30,000 for an entire year. And so, I mean, I had my reservations, like, how it might work for him. But nonetheless, that's what he was able to accomplish. He was able to accomplish because he actually leveraged and deployed connect, serve, and ask. It started to, he's applied it so many times now, it's part of him. It's just who he's becoming. He's becoming a person that is trustworthy, of course, but also is focused on being trustworthy with every person he meets. And it makes a very big difference in how he operates. So let's break down connect, serve, and ask. So connect, like this is where the relationship starts. Human first. There are three main ways you can connect with somebody else who are focused on connecting. One, you need to find common ground. That's very important. Number two, you should lead with curiosity. Number three, you should build genuine rapport. When you think about those three items there, it's an action step. You're taking action with the person in front of you. And you're seeking to understand that person in front of you just as much as you're thinking about, you probably shouldn't be thinking about what you do and be able to actually say it when it's your turn, when you're in that one-to-one. It's very important that when you meet with people for coffee that you do far more than just try to, what's that word? Pitch slap somebody. Has anybody ever heard of a pitch slapper? Anybody ever been pitch slapped? You get into a one-to-one and then all of a sudden you feel pressure. You all of a sudden start to feel pressure. And it's like, wait a second, back up. You don't know me. I want to be treated like a human. So do that. And when you're armed with the connect, serve, and ask techniques, you can actually do that a little bit better. You can actually communicate a little bit more confidently. You can back up that pitch slapper. You can stand up in your one-to-ones. You can do whatever it takes to back them off. That's what it can do for you. Next is serve. Serve. I mean, essentially all I'm saying is you want to create value before expecting anything. There are two main ways you can serve somebody else. One, you can offer to make connections or introductions to them. Number two, well, you can share useful resources with them, something that's relative to them and what they need. So serving has become part of my nature because I've done it so many times now. I don't even know how to stop it at this point. Just got to keep going that way. And it is what it is. But recently I just hit my 9,500 one-to-ones that I've done in the last 11 and a half years with complete strangers. That's a really big deal because I would not ask anybody else to do something I wouldn't do. And so I'm a connect, serve, and asker, if that makes sense. And yes, that's what this shirt is about. Ask, which is next. There are two things you should be focusing on when you ask somebody else for help. Number one, I hope you've already served them. Don't forget that. Don't go from connect to ask. It's connect, serve, and ask. Okay? And so the two main things you can ask for, one is introductions for yourself. And two are opportunities such as like go to an event together, things like that help deepen the relationship. But you keep the relationship connected and you keep it going. You always want to schedule a meeting from a meeting when you're meeting with somebody too. You don't want to skip that. If it's somebody you want to continue meeting with, get that thing scheduled. Most people will walk out of this event right here, right now, and go right back to networking the same exact way they've been doing it. Collecting cards, doing quick pitches, walking away feeling disappointed. But today, I challenge you to take my Connect, Serve, and Ask course inside of the Great Discovery. If you can just learn how to connect, serve, and ask your contacts in this room or any room you might be, and you can convert those contacts into connections that start moving your business forward because you're building trusted relationships, well, you're on your way. Thank you so much for having me today, and I can't wait to see what you can do with CSA.